Hello everyone, welcome to my first ever real YouTube video. Excited today to kind of get into my letterbox and to talk about what I watched in 2024 and kind of share some of the insights I had. This year was really strange. I feel like last year we had bangers, we had Past Lives, we had Oppenheimer, we had Killers of the Flower Moon, horror things, even some incredible animated films like The Boy and the Heron, the Spider-Verse film. And this year for me, it was kind of like Dune Part 2, and then kind of a mixture of, it all kind of falls in a weird order. So I wanted to talk about, 2024 films, but then I also wanted to talk about some films that I watched for the first time in 2024. So yeah, let's get right into it. So in 2024, I watched about 146 films, which is honestly pretty conservative for me. In 2022 and 2023, I watched over 200 films. Those were years where I had kind of first gotten into film and I was so excited about it, and I just wanted to consume. And this year I wanted to be a bit more mindful about some of the movies I watched, and some of the silly movies I watched were more when I was like cleaning or doing chores or working and things like that. So I also this year wanted to watch some more international films. It's more challenging films, and I definitely accomplished that. So it was more like, pick some more things that I really wanted to watch and really spend time with, and not just watch as many movies as I possibly could. Here is my 2024 list. As I said before, Dune Part 2 is a huge standout for me. It is the perfect sci-fi film. It is the best for some of these actors. Some of the most incredible action I've ever seen in a film. The color is perfection. The sound is a masterclass. The score, it's beautifully paced all the way through, and it's just so memorable. The story is so unique too. It's not just a boring, typical hero's journey. Paul Atreides becomes an anti-hero, and the way they weaponize religion, and there's so many just things going on. I saw The TV Glow and A Different Man were both films that came out of nowhere for me this year. I love the creativity and the dark humor and the plays on nostalgia and the playfulness with color and saturation and contrast in both these films was just incredible, and they just, for me, surpassed some of the more mainstream stuff this year. Snack Shack is a huge underrated movie this year. It's a more typical comedy coming of age film, but for me it really struck a chord with me. The main character's relationship, but also the main character and one of his friends who's older than him, and kind of the mentorship and the struggle that they go through in their relationship. Wild Robot, do I have to say anything? Incredible movie. Look Back was a film that I had never heard about, and watched it and almost cried. That's something that stuck with me, and the emotion in that film. Hundreds of Beavers, classic. The fandom for, I have a friend who's watched this film like, I don't know, 10 times. Super creative, hilarious film that I didn't see coming how good it was gonna be. And then some other ones in here. Furiosa, we got Love Lies Bleeding, which I think a lot of people it's just flying under the radar. It was a great film, a fun film. Civil War, a film that took some of the wars and the grim reality that a lot of people face in their everyday, and kind of placed it in America's lap in the setting of suburban neighborhoods and shopping malls. And I think that was just done super well, and I think the marketing play during an election year was also very clever. Challengers, very good. Sad it did not get nominated for anything, but a banger. Deadpool and Wolverine was exactly what we all expected it to be. And then I loved Alien Romulus and Cuckoo. I think those are some great horror movies that did exactly what they needed to do. They were creative and funny, and had some incredible plays with light, especially Alien Romulus. Oh my gosh, the lighting in that film was sick. So just some great movies this year, and that's kind of my ranking. It'll probably change every day I think about it, and it changes a little bit, but I had some fun with it, and it was a great year for movies. Not as good as 2023 in my opinion, but I think we had a lot of bangers this year. All right, so with a little bit of recency in my mind, some of the films I first wanted to talk about that I watched in 2024 were the Nosferatus, the 1922 film and the 2024 film liked the first one better. I'm sorry, but I did. It was 90 minutes. It was so short and succinct, and the silence made Nosferatu so much more creepy. But he also was goofy, and he was also funny, and he looks hilarious. Where's the new one? It's so nihilist and dark and horny, so unnecessary. I mean, I don't know. It's Robert Eggers. What was I expecting? But I liked the first one better for sure. It was just so much more, confined, and it did so much more with the resources it had than I think the new one did. And although the costumes were great and Nosferatu was scary as hell, I think the first one did more with what it had for sure. I'll address Wicked. Okay, it was fine. I'm not a musical fan. I'm not a Cynthia Erivo fan. I've never seen the musical, like on Broadway, that musical. I'm not a big Wizard of Oz fan and that whole universe and stuff like that. So I went into this very biased against Wicked. I was very surprised, I will say, by how good the singing was. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. And I was most surprised by Ariana Grande's acting. I thought she was very good. I thought it was kind of like a Regina George mixed with Cat Valentine. I thought it was hilarious. Her comedic timing was very good, and I thought she was kind of the best part of the movie, other than the singing. I thought she was funny. I thought the story was kind of bland, but the comedy in there really just kept it entertaining for me, kept me going through it. This year, coming back from some more recent films, I watched some older classics that I really needed to get through. Two of those were some Kubrick films. I watched Paths of Glory, and I watched 2001: A Space Odyssey. Now, surprisingly enough, as someone who loves science fiction, who is just obsessed with it, who loves to watch everything I can and just get immersed in these incredible creative worlds that people come up with, I was honestly kind of bored with 2001: A Space Odyssey. You know, it's always on those lists of like 1,000 movies before you die. You gotta see it. And I thought it was visually impressive. It was gorgeous. It was so revolutionary for its time, and I really appreciated that aspect of it. But because of, how long and slow it is, and how, you're getting 30 minutes of just shots in space. Again, it looks great. It wasn't a film that stuck with me really from any kind of story standpoint at all. And I know that's not necessarily the point of it, but it's a long movie, and so that was something that kind of surprised me. Paths of Glory, on the other hand, a little more of an underrated, in my opinion, Kubrick film, was amazing. Easy 5 stars here for me. It's an anti-war film that tells it from the perspective of the French, an ally in World War II, and how the soldiers, it kind of gives the Allies an ugly look. And I think that's important in a war film. So many times we get this propagandized American rah film, and it was so exciting for me to just dive into a different perspective, one that we don't really see, and just dive deep into these soldiers' mental, what they're thinking, what they're going through in this war, what it was really like, and things like that. So loved it. Highly recommend it. Another film I got to this year was Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and I'm so mad it took me so long to get to this movie. This is one that I'd been so apprehensive about watching, and it was just like, it looks slow, it looks boring, it's a drama, whatever. Holy crap, it blew my mind. The ending of that movie will always be sticking with me. I always think about it. It is a gorgeous slow burn. Every shot is a painting of its own. It is so rewarding. I watched it twice this year. The second time, I knew it was coming, and I still cried at the end. I highly recommend it. I don't think it's gotten enough attention from mainstream audiences. Oh my gosh, please watch it. Please go watch it as soon as you can. So another film I watched this year for the third time was Studio Ghibli's Howl's Moving Castle. Hayao Miyazaki has quickly become one of my favorite directors of all time. And it was really exciting to just watch this film again, because you're able to just notice so much more in the animation style. But upon this rewatch, something that really stuck with me was kind of the difference between American animation and Japanese animation in the way not only that it's done, but also the messages kind of conveyed in the films. And I don't really see it being talked about too much, and maybe I'm just not on the side of the internet, but it's so interesting to me how American kids animation is just so potty humor, and it's like it just treats children as if they're dumb, and it just constantly uses the same types of jokes, the same types of humor, and it's just fart, poop, like Looney Tunes, physical humor. And for me, it was so thought provoking to just think about, watching Studio Ghibli films and noticing how a lot of them are made for kids and for younger audiences, but they convey so much deeper messages and explore so many more deeper subjects and make them, digestible for kids and people of younger audiences, dealing with grief and death and what it means to grow old and what does our legacy mean, and all of that, while still having, packing in all this great humor, packing in all this great animation and these fantastical characters and things like that. So that was something that I kind of walked away with after watching Howl's Moving Castle for the third time. It made me kind of look at some of my favorite kids movies in a new light, noticing, how they, deal with certain subjects. And that's why I think another reason why The Wild Robot is such an incredible film, and some of the newer animated films we're getting, they're dealing with more heavier subjects and making them approachable for kids and making them think about these types of things. So that's something that I'm excited about in a lot of these newer animated films and kids movies and things like that. So thank you guys for watching my first ever YouTube video, just yapping about movies here, having a good time. I'm excited to, keep exploring, film and exploring my journey with it, and finding more movies. So please recommend me some more in the comments. Let me know if you want me to talk about any of these that you see. Thank you guys so much for watching, and see you next time.